Hi boys and girls, today I'm going to be showing you a lesson using 2 packs of your Model Magic clay to make your dinosaur. Some teachers may do the dinosaur first and then the triorama, others may do the triorama first, just depends on your school. So what I've done, the easiest way to open Model Magic clay is I snip off the 2 ends, try not to cut my clay, trash. Take my scissors, put it right into the side of the package, trim, 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 and now it's really easy to open that up and take out your clay. Now I'm not going to smush it up or anything yet because I need to have certain measurements for my dinosaur. Now, there's always more than one way to make something, so if you don't do it exactly the way I'm doing it, that's okay. Your sketch may look completely different than mine. I'm just going to give you some tips. So what I'm going to do is one of these I'm going to use the whole thing for the body. And then this one over here, I'm just going to use my scissors. You can tear or use your scissors right on your clay. Doesn't hurt. Okay, this one's going to be for the head. And then this one, I'm going to make the legs. So I want to have 4 legs. If I just start cutting, they might not be equal sizes. So I'm going to take my stick or anything that's straight, and I'm going to kind of divide it up. So I got the whole, I do a line, now I have 2 halves. I'm going to do a line this way, kind of like a letter T. Now I have 4 quarters. Look at that. There is math and art. Can you believe it? Science, math, and everything coming together in this lesson. So I've got my head, I've got my body, I've got my head, and this is also going to be the tail. Okay, so I'm going to cut this one into 4. These are going to be the legs. Now sometimes when you first open, by the way, if you touch it together, it's going to stick. And if it sticks, don't try to pull it. Just snip it, okay? Okay, I got 4 legs. Now we're starting off with white. Later on, you'll probably be painting or coloring this, depending on your school, or your teacher may have you use markers to tint, like I showed you last time. So, depends on your school. This one's gonna be the body. So I'm gonna start with that one first and put this to the side. I'm gonna leave this over here. I'm gonna get this clay ready. Even this kind of clay needs a little bit of warming up. So if you just kind of pull those pieces apart, what you're doing is activating all that sticky inside there. If it ever gets too dry, or if you open your pack and you're like, oh my gosh, my clay is too dry, guess what? I can take 1 or 2 dots of water, not too much, just like glue, a little bit does a lot, and knead that clay into there. Artists always knead clay. Knead means fold it over, push. If you were using natural clay, this would be getting rid of all those air bubbles inside so that your clay doesn't explode during the firing process. This is man-made clay. So are we gonna throw it in the oven? No, you would have a mess, melt, probably a fire. So this is just air dry, man-made clay. So I've got my clay, I'm gonna push it kind of into a ball. In art class, we don't call it a ball, we call it a sphere. I'm gonna take my washing the windows motion and roll it around either in my hand, in my palm, or on the table. I'm not moving both hands, I just use one, or you can do both, but you're not pressing hard. Okay, so now I have the ball. I'm gonna roll it back and forth so I have kind of a potato shape. There's my potato shape, almost like a cylinder. This is gonna be the body of my dinosaur, but I'm gonna start adding the neck. If you have a longer one, you may wanna roll this a little bit longer. I'm gonna start with the tail on one side. So I'm gonna put my hand at an angle, like a karate chop one, and look, this is a 3-dimensional shape called a cone. I don't have to attach the tail, I can make it come right out of this piece of clay. Now on this other side, you can just try to pinch out this piece or roll it, it'll be a lot smoother. That can end up being the neck. If it's a longer neck, just make it longer. So I look at it this way. If you're doing a T-Rex, you might bend this and have it coming more up, maybe bend the tail a little bit so it'll stay. It's probably gonna fall over until we add legs and things like that. So depending, if it's standing on 4 legs, leave it down a little bit more. If it's a T-Rex up on 2, just bend it up. I'm gonna go ahead and bend mine up, do something more of a T-Rex. If you did a T-Rex, if you did a realistic sort of dinosaur. This piece, whenever I, remember, warm up that clay, it's not ready yet. That clay's cold and rusty. Just kidding, not really rusty. I'm gonna pinch and fold and do it in my hand, roll it up. If I feel like it's not moist enough, I can add a dot, ladybug dot of water. I'm gonna roll that sphere. Wash the windows, wash the windows. My clay is cold. Go back and forth. Okay, and then make the shape. Now, if that's way too big, oh my goodness, look how giant that head is. Well, you know what? I can always snip off both. Look, I stuck. Instead of trying to pull it off, I'm just gonna snip. No, look at the head. Okay, and maybe I don't need all that. So I'll save some of this actually for if I wanna add spikes or to its spine. Those little plates that go down its spine. So roll the ball, back and forth, it's a little cold. Put that on there, and then use your finger, because it's not really on there very good. Use your finger or a tool to kind of help press it together. That's gonna help that. If you were in art class using real clay, remember we would be scoring, which is scratching, and adding either slip or water or using a toothbrush to make those pieces fuse together. So natural clay, you would do it a little bit differently. You would score and slip. I call it the 3 S's, score, stick, and slip. I wonder if I add a tiny bit of water. You know what, art sometimes is experimenting too. I could try adding a tiny bit of water, but you know what's gonna happen is eventually it's just gonna be too soft. So I wouldn't add tons of water. Okay, so I'm just making those become one piece. I'll probably camouflage it a little bit whenever I go back and start painting, so I'm not really worried about it. That looks pretty good. I got a head, I've got a body, I've got a tail. Okay, I'm gonna pinch this down to give him a little bit of a snout, not like a dog, a little bit more of what I think my dinosaur would look like. You know what, if it doesn't look just like you're drawing, that's okay. Clay sometimes is a lot harder than doing 2D drawings and paintings. Okay, so I'm just kind of pinching and sculpting the way I think it should look. Now, for the legs, actually I'm gonna do that last. So that way, even though these are sitting there drying, remember, we know how to reactivate it. Okay, I'm gonna start adding some of these other details and maybe add the legs last. Here's a couple ideas. If you want the spine, if you ran out of clay, you can always pinch all along the spine to give it its little spikes on the back, and then pinch it maybe into like a triangle shape if you want, or just keep it rounded, whatever you'd like. Okay, there we go. That looks pretty good to me. Or I can make, I have that extra clay, I can make those tiny little spikes. Roll the ball, karate chop, roll one side. I've got a little spike. Oh, it's too big. Guess what? Trim it. Stick it. Make sure you kind of press in. You're not really smoothing as much as you would with real clay, but look, you've got a little spike on its back. Or maybe I want a spike down here, or I want some horns up here. Depends on your animal. Now, some things I do for the eyes, you can either add eyes, or you can take a shish kebab skewer or a toothpick and add in, press in those eyes. Maybe I'm gonna give it the nose, lift up a little bit, because I know their little snout sticks up. So I added that, okay? Now for the mouth, careful not to pinch too much. I just gave them some really cute cheekbones. Okay, for the mouth, you can take a stick, a butter knife, and just kind of press in on the side, or you can also take those scissors and snip, and look at that. Pretty simple. I can make it look like sharp teeth with my toothpick. If it's a carnivore, give it some flat teeth. If it's an herbivore, if it eats both, obviously it would need some sharp teeth. I'm just kind of pressing in. May not look perfect, but it's perfect for me. Okay, so I have a little dinosaur head. It's got a little face, got some expression, nice cheekbones. Here's the big torso. I've got the tail that's attached really good because it was part of my main body. Now I'm ready to add the legs. I always do those last. Okay, I had some extra clay there. I don't know why I just pinched it on there. I'll just leave that. Maybe I'll use that for part of my triorama. If you have a piece that you didn't use, put it in a baggie. Get rid of some of the air. Maybe put a little damp paper towel in there, or use this, roll it up, and you can save it for whenever you are able to work on your triorama some more, and then you can use that piece. Maybe add a little bit of tape. Okay, I made a little baby, doesn't even look like a dinosaur last time. No! Okay, it's a Friday, boys and girls, for Miss Adams. Okay, I am folding this over, reactivating that clay, kneading the clay. I'm going to roll a ball, Wash the window, wash the window, wash the window. Okay, now my clay is cold. I'm gonna roll it back and forth. I'm gonna do this one too. Since I'm gonna be doing a T-Rex, I'm gonna lay this down because as your clay is really soft, it starts to kind of droop. Okay, so I'm gonna make this a small one first. Instead of 4 same equal ones, since I'm doing a T-Rex, I might have 2 small ones and 2 big ones. Okay, so I'm gonna roll the ball. Okay, back leg. I need a little bit more. I think I'll borrow from friends. Thank you, friends. Okay, pinch and fold, pinch and fold, pinch and fold. Mix, mix, mix. Now this type of clay is gonna take 2 to 3 days to dry out pretty good. So I want you to find a very safe place in a cabinet where little brother, little sister, grandma, mom, dad, aunt, uncle cannot find it and play with it. We don't want to play with this. We need to put it somewhere to dry so that next week we can come back in and add our color and finish up our triorama if it's not done. Okay, so I've got my pieces. Got 2 legs, which in 3D art, oh, one skinnier. I'll smush it down. I've got 2 legs, cylinder shapes. I'm gonna roll this coil a little bit longer. Even though T-Rex have short arms, you know what? I'm gonna give them 2 little short arms. Now, if you made up your own dinosaur, it may not look just like this, or it may be standing on 4 legs. I'm gonna take this one, and since I don't want his legs to stick out to the side, I'm gonna pinch it a little bit and add it right on there. Okay, I got a good big leg. There's his hind leg, there's his bottom legs. He doesn't have any feet. Well, you know what? Just pinch it out. He doesn't have any sharp claws. Well, guess what? You can either add some or you can cut right into there. Now look, he's got some little claws. I'm not gonna do both sides. I don't wanna waste your time. I've got a skinny cylinder here. If you don't need it, cut it. Okay? If it's not sticking, mix it up. Reactivate that clay. Add a little bit of water. If something falls off, don't cry. All you have to do is get some liquid glue. You can glue it back on later. No worries. Okay, give him some little claws. There we go. Now some other things I can do is I can add some textures. Let's say I want to add some polka dots, small polka dots. Maybe I want to use a marker lid. Maybe I want to add some larger dots, or at an angle, I could add scales. When I do owls, these are like the wings. So give it the scales on there. Okay, so I hope this helped you out. Mine's looking a little crazy right now because I've been smushing them so much, but we have done our best. We've attached clay together. We've made 3-dimensional forms like cylinders, cones. I didn't add any cubes, but cylinders and cones and spheres to create our 3-dimensional dinosaur. Whether it's standing on 2 legs, whether it's standing on 4, it is up to you. Okay, so I hope you had a good time making your dinosaur. Put it somewhere safe so that we can color it next week.